maybe I can help us.
Can I guess? I say something. In FCB, we have like kind of a mantra that it's like creativity should be an economic multiplier. Not only economic in a financial way, it's also related to how you add value to people. So for me, speaking about emotions, yeah, creativity is so powerful when you combine it also with empathy, with this spirit of social collaboration, of collectiveness. So there are a lot of works that in the festival that get that mix, with this merge between a good storytelling, a good idea, but reinforced with the idea of collectiveness, of this way to build a community, and for me that's something that is very important to consider from now and forward.
I would just add, plus one to all of that, that what will resonate on top of being emotional is if the brand is connected to what's going on with the consumers and adopt a story that resonates with them, like what they are feeling that I can contribute to versus what product I have to sell and shove in your face. And so always keeping a pulse on their wrist, pulse on the wrist, yeah, finger in the pulse, finger in the pulse of what people are feeling, what they're interested in, and see how your brand can authentically connect to it and then deliver in an emotional way. But like before being emotional, being something that your brand can authentically talk about, that they are caring about in that very moment.
And any more questions? Yes, please. Microphone, yes.
Hi, thank you so much for the lovely insights. We're talking about stirring emotions through storytelling, right? And I personally really like the case AI President, and it was sad for me when I saw that it didn't win at Cannes. So I would like to pick your brain on what are some exercises we can do to find emotional benefits in complex products? Because I'm on the brand side and I work in financial services, and sometimes it's very difficult to find an emotional benefit which is not sad. So if you could just let me know your thoughts on that.
I think it all starts with what people care and want, and you can do twists on that. I was just trying to think of one example that I loved with the jury. We all loved the McDonald's example. That was no smile. We don't have it here, right? But it's based on the insights that on McDonald's, people kind of bully the people serving to like smile. I have to smile, and that was really affecting recruiting there. And then with this insight that we shouldn't be able to force people to smile, they connected with an influencer that is known to be herself and not smile, and then there was like a super fun video on YouTube. And then it turned something that was a problem into something fun and that people consumed as entertainment, and changed the way other companies are recruiting. And so but the key was to tap into what people are talking about, what are they feeling, what matters to them, and then come with a fresh perspective that is going to add value to the conversation, either in a entertaining way or functional way, in a service way. So it's all about getting insights on your audience and in culture, and taking it from there, because it's all about understanding who you're talking to in the moments.
I personally think like with a lot of brands like that, like people kind of forget who the audience is. You know, like for example, like in B2B advertising, you tend to, so a lot of times it's like, well, this is a business decision maker, and that person is always wearing a suit, and they're always in a tie, or they're always in a powered suit, and they're not human beings, they're just cogs. And I think it's really critical to remember that these are people who are watching the same TV shows as we do, watching the same movies, they have the same problems, have the same joys. Like they have human emotions at the end of the day, and they're audiences that want to be entertained. And so I think that's the thing that I always try to think about is like, these are people that have to be, hopefully that, if you're going to get their attention, you have to entertain them first. You have to capture their emotions or capture their attention somehow. And just assuming that they've got their business hat on, or their financial hat on is not really going to do much. I don't know why this is the universal symbol for hat, but that's what I'm just going with it today. So anyway, I hope that helps.
Thank you. I was just going to say one more thing specifically about financial advertising. So I think it's really interesting because actually money is one of the most emotional things there is. And yet a lot of the financial advertising we see is very left brain, it's not right brain. But if you think about what money does and what having enough money can enable, it can enable freedom, it can enable confidence, it can enable, helping you do better for your kids, all of that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It actually is a very emotional, what it brings, the benefit of some financial products can be emotionally very, very positive. So again, I try to think about not the product, but what the benefit or what the outcome is if you're sort of trying to look for a way through to create something that has a bit more empathy. We've talked about humanity, empathy, sense of community, all the things that we're talking about today. I think actually money is one of the most creatively, possibly underexplored areas and categories. So yeah, I think you've got a great opportunity there.
Yeah, and I would encourage you to look into social media. I'm pretty sure if you go on a TikTok and start looking at what people are talking about money and hacks and funny situations, like I think social media is such a rich space for you to research because that's the bar table where people are talking about things and trying to express themselves and connecting around a passion topic. So like go to Reddit, go to YouTube, you're gonna find things. People on social media are extremely creative. They find a way to turn something crazy into something funny, and a lot of times that's when it goes viral and you can find a way to participate in this conversation.
Thank you so much.
And just to complement very quickly, in my case, I work with the planning team in my agency, and maybe it's very obviously to say this, but data, it's not the insight. Like there are so many times that we love data. We know that there are a lot of information, a lot of numbers that are going to tell something, and there are some kinds that we think that just a number is going to give us the solution or the insight, the powerful insight that we are looking for. And as they were telling, you need to go outside, you need to see the people, you need to understand the people and to ask the people. There are many times that we forget to ask people. And I think that you need to do it more constantly and do it more personally, because yeah, social media, it's awesome. You can run a social listening and get some powerful insights, but you need to do it also the other side, that it's front, one by one, and to ask how they feel, how they, the barriers, to understand not only the thing that they are saying, the thing that it's behind the words and the thing that they are saying in front of you. But yeah, that's all.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I think. Any more questions? Okay, I think this is enough. Yes. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us for this conversation with our juries. I must say thank you for your time, for your effort, and thank you for coming, my audience. Thank you. Okay, have fun. Have a great day.
Okay, why don't we give a big round of applause to our panelists as well as the moderator. Well, thank you so much for your talk. Thank you. Well, I am getting more and more excited about the sessions to come today and tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So we will get started with the session as soon as the floor is ready. And in the meantime, let me introduce our next speaker. Okay, so next presentation is titled 6 Rules for Building Future-Ready Brands. And I'm really looking forward to listening to the lecture as you can see on the screen. And our speaker is Wayne Dicken, Global Principal and Creative from Wolf Olins. And it seems we're almost ready. As soon as this is cleared and arranged, we will get started right away. In the meantime, let me give you another announcement about the interpretation. We provide simultaneous AI interpretation, so on the right side you can check out the translation. Okay, it seems like we are almost ready. So if you have to check out the interpretation on your cell phone, if it is too far away from you, you can use the QR code and check out our AI interpretation. Okay, we are finally ready. So let me invite Wayne Dicken, Global Principal and Creative of Wolf Olins. Please welcome him with... Probably because the first special session ended a little bit earlier. Okay, he is here finally, so why don't we give a big round of applause? Let me invite you right away to the stage. I'm sorry, the previous session ended a little bit earlier, so I'm sorry. Okay, 네, 다시 한번 여러분 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. Please give him a big round of applause.
Welcome. Thank you for having me. Took me by surprise there. So, hey, it's really wonderful to be here today. So thank you. Amazing that few people turned up. So that's cool. I'm really happy to be back in Korea. We work in Korea a lot and across Asia with a lot of our clients. But every time I come here, I fall more and more in love with the country, the people, the culture, the food. So yeah, I'll be back again. But today I'm going to do a talk, and I want to leave enough time at the end for some questions, basically. My talk is around sort of the future and what it takes in a way to make a future-ready brand in today's ever-changing world. And we know this festival is all about AI and the future and technology and things like that. I just want to assure you that today we'll sort of talk about AI, but we'll also talk about issues that I think that are bigger than the AI, but also sort of dovetail into sort of why being human is really important in this new world of technology. There we go. So, hello, I'm Wayne Dicken, Global Principal and Global Executive Creative Director at Wolf Olins. I'm a designer by trade. At Wolf Olins, we've been shaping brands for nearly 60 years. So, from Google to Uber, to TikTok, to Tate Gallery, to here in Seoul, we did the Liam Museum of Art, which was fantastic. And I'm really excited to be here. What we do, essentially, at Wolf Olins, is we're in the business of transformation, moving brands, moving people, moving culture. For nearly 60 years, we've made brands that are timeless and iconic, apparently. We're not the biggest. Some people call us the best, which is nice of them. But what we don't do is we don't just do logos. We don't just do design systems. We don't just codify brands for guidelines. We try and make brands that are emotionally connecting, emotionally sort of relationship building, because that's the secret at the end of the day. Our role really is to create brands that connect with people on many levels. And when you connect with people, that brands become timeless. Brands, no matter what the landscape throws at you, how channels and touch points change brands that are human connectors, and it was great in the previous talk amongst the executive judges to talk about humanity and being human and emotions. And that's something that in the sort of nearly 60 years that Wolf Holland has been around, that's been at the core of what we do. We're sort of across 4 hubs, but also what's quite interesting is we work all across the world, but again we find global traits that actually are very human and global traits that actually connect us as a species. You know, we've been around for 300,000 years, sitting around campfires as cavemen and women, and a lot of those traits that are in our DNA are still there and are still sort of about being a part of a family, part of a tribe, part of a community. And essentially brands are communities, brands are tribes. You know, why is it sports teams have symbols? Why is it sort of at the Olympics we have sort of cultural symbols? You know, these are all about bringing people together. I'm just going to play you a little bit of a sneak peek into what we do. AI, machine learning technology is accelerating and changing the way that we have relations with brands. It's easy to get worried, it's easy to get panicked, it's easy to get paralyzed, but in fact this is an amazing opportunity, amazing era to unlock creativity in all its forms. And I guess like what I'd like to do is sort of give a little bit of a sort of quick 6 rules into sort of how, if you are creating a brand, you're managing a brand, your governance over a brand, what you could do to sort of like get ahead. We know that brands, in a way, are powerful growth engines, even more so today than before. Fast forward from COVID-19, the relationship and the way that people buy has massively changed. Everybody's going to tell you that. But what essentially is important to realise is we're at a time where we have generation dread out there that are sort of sceptical of the world. We've got climate change, we've got geopolitics, we've got economic tensions. So there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of scepticism around brands. But there's also at the same time a huge want and desire to find community, want and desire to find your tribe, want and desire to connect with brands that you trust. And Gen Z, Gen Alpha sort of are rewriting the playbooks on how the relationships with brands are being formed. And it's really important to sort of understand that, because we're in a really interesting time, a really interesting tipping point for businesses in the marketing, communication, design industry to get it right or get it really wrong. So the way people connect with brands is highly influenced by relationships and highly influenced by this human connection. And although AI is fantastic and it's going to influence businesses and accelerate what we can do in creativity, I think again, I'm saying this about 1 million times because I'm going to bang you over the head with this point. Being more human is the way forward. And what's really interesting is when you dig into it, you know, it was great, it's 59% from the previous talk. There was a chat about being at sort of 50% of people aren't interested in certain things. What's really interesting is McKinsey did a study that sort of articulated that 59% of consumers prefer to buy from brands that they're familiar with. But what's really interesting is 80% have said they need to be able to trust a brand. And that trust factor is a two-way street. And then what's really interesting, the third figure, is when you talk about the power of brand, the power of marketing, the power of communication or design, to actually grow the brands and grow the bottom line. 100 top global brands have beaten stock market, right? Over the last decade. So there's a real force in the economic power of brands to make financial gains and to sort of retain customers or employees, because it's a two-way street. It's not just about customers' brands, it's also about how you, as an employee, feels to be part of a brand or an organisation, how you feel to be part of that brand that you work for. But at the same time, customers have to have that level of trust and that level of sort of equity that they've baked into the brand. So 6 quick rules. Rule 1, be unmistakably you. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not rocket science. But, I think with the age of social media, the age of transparency, the speed of change that can happen to brands if they get it wrong and if they're inauthentic, being you and understanding who you are is really important. Authenticity and transparency. Being up here talking to you, it's not my comfortable space, but what's really important is to recognise that, I'm not the world's best speaker, but there's brands out there that aren't doing everything right, are getting it wrong in some sorts, but it's about intent, and it's about actually showing that, you're something beyond your product, beyond your price, beyond your logo, basically. It's about being true to who you are, and does your strategy, does your design speak to it? Be yourself. And what's really interesting is these can be public or internal commitments to understand what your brand is about. And I'm talking both from a B2B point of view and a B2C point of view. I realise that I might be starting to break the AI system here because I just talk and sort of go off in tangents. So hopefully it's keeping up. So I'll do my best. Haven't sworn yet. But ultimately, being yourself, your commitment to show who you are. I'll show you some work we did for LG in Korea, but it was global work. But it was really important for LG to be proudly Korean, but also in a way that was a humble brag of who they are. But again, as a brand, it was important that they showed their commitment to innovation, their commitment to being who they are, their commitment to being real and consistent in all the ways they show up. export that Korean proud feeling of being part of LG to the world. And also take little design cues like the finger heart or the turning the logo into a gesturing logo. It had 12 different behaviours that it would respond to. And again, you know, I think it's about sort of being true to the company that sort of and the people that we met in the brand and the business. Rule 2. Hearts and mind. My head's exploding with stuff there on the side. But obviously this is about sort of emotion and connecting people. In today's world, sort of facts alone don't win, emotions do. And this isn't just sort of brand fluff. I was lucky enough to be working with Harvard Business School a couple of weeks ago. And what's really interesting, there's a new white paper that's come out that's taken 8 years to develop around the science of customer emotion, and it's been highly applauded within the community in the way that we are now really defining how we have what we call emotional motivators. Emotional motivators are obviously, you know, the motivations that we have as humans to sort of respond to different situations, and they far outweigh the power of sort of logic. They far outweigh in the way that sort of, you know, you think. You know, how many times have you bought things that you probably logically shouldn't have bought, but you have? You know, you'd be surprised how much emotion is baked into sort of wanting to sort of be part of a tribe or be part of a community, wanting to purchase things. And I'll show you a little bit of work for Instacart that we did. And what's interesting about Instacart is when they came to us, there was a raft of sort of competition. And ultimately they're a technology platform, but what we wanted to turn them into was a community platform to be in the hearts and homes of America. So they didn't just deliver groceries, they delivered stories. They delivered stories of community and stories of connection, because food is a cornerstone for creating conversation, creating bonding, creating family connections. So the way that we did this was to sort of pull out certain elements of the brand to sort of help create a brand that was less a technology platform and more a wayfinding sort of brand to help you find the stories delivered to your home. Think about, we live in a fragmented world, and it's even getting even more disrupted in fragment. Media channels, touch points, you know, they're sort of everywhere. We get bombarded by billions of them every day. So having one unified voice is really important. And voice, I'm not just talking about sort of messaging or tone of voice here, I'm talking about everything, from the way that you show up in data policies, to the way that you show up in your tone of voice, and copy, to the way that you show up in design. So one set of voice that sort of clearly speaks of who you are. If you're not speaking in one voice, you'll be forgotten. You know, in a world overflowing with choices, you know, speaking in one voice is really important. You know, we're also sort of in a world where sort of digital and physical has become one. You know, it's seamless. So how you're going to show up is going to be really important, and it doesn't mean cut and paste. It doesn't mean sort of visual frequency. It doesn't mean sort of exactly the same thing that's just churned out again and again. Because one voice can can flex and alter it in many different ways. In fact, it's more important that it's about coherence. But consistency is important. Consistency of messaging rather than consistency visually. But what's important is to think about the audience that you're targeting, or the people that you're trying to attract or keep loyal. What's important is to think about the way you do that. And I'm going to play you a little film that's for a new brand that we started working with, which is part of Ubisoft. It's for Anno. And Anno is a strategy game that's been around for 20 years. It's very popular in Germany, but it's getting more and more popular. And it's a community game. It's about building. Building sort of communities, building out sort of little tribes. And actually at the heart of it was a making mentality. It's all about, there's no wars in Anno, there's no destruction. It's a bit like sort of like digital Lego in a way. What it is about making things. So we decided that was really important from the get-go with this sort of new brand to sort of get across the making ideology. So what we did is we actually went back to traditional methods. We got a blacksmith to forge the mark, the logo, the A that you saw there. And then from that we took that into the digital world. And what was important about that, and why it sort of speaks to this one voice, is that from the get-go we were talking about, here's the voice, this is what we're talking about, this is the core of what our brand is about, which is making. And that now is continuing in everything they do. It's always about building, it's always about making, it's always about craft. Rule 4, tools, not hard rules. This is super important. Being agile, not being stuck. You know, the market changes so quickly, channels, touch points, how you show up as a brand changes daily. What's important is to be relevant, and rules, although I've said this title, the title of this talk is 6 rules, it's about tools, because rules slow you down. Rules are more, in the way that we look at them, rules are about, you know, guidance and sort of areas to play. But ideally, tools let you take control. Tools let you design for the moment. And so change is the only constant that we have. Being adaptable and being agile is super important for brands to be future ready. If you can't adapt, if your brand can't pivot or be flexible, then you're going to be left behind or boxed in. So finding tools, that's where AI, that's where technology becomes really important. How do you start as a brand being able to generate different ways that your brands can appear? How do you start to sort of have a brand that's more agile? You know, in the Instacart example, we had a variable typeface that sort of worked really well across that. We built an engine also for the brand so that everybody in the organisation can have a little bit more flexibility and control for the right mediums to deliver that brand. So building tools and being flexible is really key, and thinking in a more system approach. Some little work that we did for a brand called Uber. When we worked with them, it was about taking them from a ride hail app, to a mobility system. We had two points in our strategy. At scale is amazing, and it's amazing tools to be able to capture, be more programmatic, be more agile, be more sort of in sync at a micro level.
Pause too.
The craft is super important to do it then, but then when people take a brand and then sort of build on top of it and do their own thing, I now think, oh great, amazing, that's like cool, let's see where they can go with it and sort of celebrate that. And I think that's where brands that sort of like a Nike are quite interesting, because Nike sort of like don't get as guarded about their brand as some of the other brands were. You know, I've worked with Nike before, and like what's interesting is when they find different people that are doing cool stuff with their brand and they bring it back into the main brand and sort of spin it off into campaigns or whatever. That's quite cool. So I think don't get too precious about it. It's hard to sort of, when you create a brand from scratch or you reimagine a brand to be this new thing and you've got a very solid, robust design system and then people go and break it. But again, rules are there to be broken. And they're just, you know, guidelines for brands are just there as guidelines. They should be done in a way that's about opportunities and possibilities, not sort of like, don't do this, don't do that. Because you know a brand's successful, I suppose, when people start to hack it. So I think good luck to them. But great question, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what you've just answered seems, I'm connecting what you've just answered with what you've presented. Rule number 4, no hard rules, and the last rule was it's people business. So it really connected together with the last question, so thank you so much for a wonderful question and wonderful answer. Now it's actually time to wrap up because of time limitation. So why don't we give a big round of applause to Wayne Deacon for a wonderful presentation. Thank you. Okay, getting really excited personally. And now we'll move on to the next presentation. Now I would like to invite Mr. Hemant Shringi, Chief Creative Officer of FCB Oka. So the title of his presentation is EI in the Times of AI. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Well, hello everyone, and I'd like to say I'm Hemant Shringi. I'm the same guy you saw in the picture. I just haven't gotten a better picture in the last 7 years, so I've been using that one. So I'm the same guy. So here's my topic that I'm going to share today. EI in the times of AI. EI, emotional intelligence. AI, artificial intelligence. I've been really excited about AI. But I've got to say that I've been really nervous about AI as well. Not because it'll take away our jobs, but what if it took away the one thing that I love the most about communication, which is our emotional intelligence. So yeah, I think I want to deep dive into this conversation. Spoiler alert, AI is awesome when used well. So yeah, I want to start by saying that, in a way, in essence, AI is the newest and a really powerful tool for problem solving and communication, at least for us advertising and marketing folk. But I actually want to start talking about the oldest tool of communication, letter writing. From love letters to fan mails, from open letters that address the largest issues in the world, to even hate mails, letters have been really effective and impactful tool of communication. There's something about it, there must be something about it that makes this tool of communication so enduring, right? I want to share one piece of work that I have worked on and I've been extremely proud of, because it's trying to have a really positive and progressive conversation using this oldest piece of communication without losing the relevance to the present time and without losing its emotional core. So I'm going to start off that conversation from there and then we'll continue.
Papa, hello, yeah, I'm just going to send you the email in 5 minutes. Yeah, give me 5 minutes. I'm working on the presentation.
मेरी छोटी सी गुड़िया कितनी बड़ी हो गई, घर घर खेलती थी, अब घर संभालती है, ऑफिस संभालती है. I am so proud and I am so sorry. Sorry कि ये सब तुम्हें अकेले करना पड़ता है. Sorry कि जब तुम घर घर खेलती थी तो मैंने तुम्हें रोका नहीं. ये नहीं कहा कि ये सिर्फ तुम्हारा काम नहीं है, तुम्हारे हस्बैंड का भी है, पर कहता भी कैसे है। मैंने भी तो कभी तुम्हारी मम्मी की हेल्प नहीं की, और तुमने जो देखा वही सीखा। तुम्हारे हस्बैंड ने भी बचपन में यही देखा होगा। घर घर खेलते वक्त वो टीवी देखने की या न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने की एक्टिंग करता होगा, और तुम जैसी कोई छोटी सी लड़की चाय बनाने की एक्टिंग करती होगी। उसके डैड की तरफ से सॉरी, तुम्हारे डैड की तरफ से सॉरी, और हर उस डैड की तरफ से सॉरी जिसने कई सालों से एक गलत एग्जाम्पल सेट किया। पर अभी भी देर नहीं हुई। इस सॉरी के साथ मैं अपनी तरफ से एक छोटी सी कोशिश करूंगा कि घर के काम में मम्मी की हेल्प करूं। किचन का किंग ना बन पाऊं तो कम से कम लॉन्ड्री में तो हाथ बटाऊं। इतने साल एक गलत एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है, अब कुछ सही कर जाऊं। तुम्हारा पापा।
So, you know, like we were discussing, even Matt mentioned in the earlier conversation, right, that we are in the business of moving people. What this was essentially a letter from a father to his daughter saying things she never imagined he would say. So what is it that makes this tool of communication as moving as it does, and as impactful and effective and enduring as it does? And I think the answer lies in emotional intelligence. We're in the business of moving people, moving them to think, to feel, to act. And by moving, really, it's moving them in every way, right? Like I keep talking to my teams about it, that if you're having a sensitive conversation, you've got to create a piece of communication that makes you cry. If you're trying to make people laugh, you've got to attempt to make people roll on the floor and laugh out loud. If you want to provoke people, you've got to really enrage them in the conversation that you're doing, because there isn't really anything worse than a lukewarm response to the communication that we create. And I think that AI also works best when it does the same. Can AI be as moving? Can AI be as enduring? So I want to share a couple of pieces that show how AI uses EI, and I think that's the answer to this question. I want to start with this one piece.
As coisas que aprendi nos discos, quero lhe contar como eu vivi. Passa de geração em geração.
So when you see this piece, it feels like a lovely ad, it feels like a great song, but when you see the use of AI and EI and its relevance to the past, to the present, to the culture and to the brand itself, you see the true power of AI. Let me play almost like a making of this video, because it's amazing, and we'll talk about it once we see it.
A 4-year-old daughter, Maria Hita, that many years later would become one of the greatest voices of the country, winning a total of 8 Grammy Awards. So to reunite these two generations, we used AI to make the impossible happen and brought back Elis Regina, making mother and daughter sing together for the very first time. To a non-Brazilian, it would be the same as bringing back John Lennon to sing with his son. assuming his son was an 8-time Grammy winner, and these were the results from the first week alone.
To bring an iconic singer back,
It generated the highest volume of conversations in the brand's history. To the artists, it was also a home run. MTV selected the commercial to be shown as a music video. Maria Hita was invited to sing the same song to the president himself, and both singers skyrocketed on music platforms.
Milhões e milhões de pessoas que não ouviam Elis passaram a ouvir a partir daquilo.
Volkswagen 70 years. Success passed down the generations.
It's so moving, right? To bring together mother and daughter across ages to make that point. So we know that, the fact that we know AI is the present and it is the future, but to know that it also has the power to bring the past back. It has the power to recreate history, and it has the power not only to dazzle and inspire awe in you, but this clearly shows that it also has the power to generate emotion and nostalgia. And this is another piece that I want to talk about, where AI and EI are both at the core of it. And it's so big that it feels almost unthinkable, but it's true. This is a piece that you guys have seen earlier today in the morning as well, but I want to talk about it once again.
Lebanon does not have a president. The country needs a president to be able to appoint a government.
Lebanon has not had a sitting president for almost 2 years. 13 failed attempts to elect one by biased Lebanese parliamentary members have plunged the country further into crisis. The Lebanese people were tired of waiting for a president. Until now.
في جلسة مجلس الوزراء الأخيرة رئيس الجمهورية كان حاضراً.
An-Nahar, Lebanon's biggest newspaper, created a fully equipped, objective AI president of a country, the first in the world to be used by a government. To train the large language models, we used all the data archives from over 90 years of impartial journalism by An-Nahar. We introduced the new leader to the public in a nationwide campaign, inviting citizens to tune into a live interview debut where the president's identity would finally be revealed. During its debut, the president demonstrated that unlike its human counterparts, it's the only president who can't be corrupt, biased, indecisive, self-serving, or influenced by political agendas, instead only offering data-driven insights and pragmatic solutions. The daily edition has evolved into a comprehensive political platform, with new policies crafted by the AI president. Spanning various government sectors, it leverages the president's extensive knowledge, inviting citizens to engage and benefit online. The site engaged the Lebanese in a countrywide dialogue. From the first cabinet meeting after our launch, the country's government officials have begun including the AI president in sessions to implement reforms, build better directives, and shape more successful policies. With the AI president at the helm, An-Nahar has transcended the failure of corrupt traditional governance and shown what true, objective, and highly informed leadership looks like.
Really, imagine the impact AI has created here. In a way, it's a machine, but it's also not. The president of Lebanon is elected by the parliament and not by the people, but this has turned this on its head. It brought together people's voices and years of unbiased opinions and turned it into a machine. Think about the power that AI has done. What they've taken is they've taken 90 years of unbiased people's voices and news that's been covered, and it's actually been used in sessions right now. You can imagine the impact that AI has had here. And I think the next one that I want to talk about is when artificial intelligence raises some very real questions. I think all of us have lived with years and centuries of biases in a way. And when that gets questioned and when AI has the power to really make you think. So I'll show you this piece and we'll talk about it.
The French women's national team is drawing attention with a new ad.
Publicité, je sais pas si vous l'avez vu, elle est incroyable. Já tem comercial que tá bombando, né?
É sensacional. Best marketing I have ever seen.
It is the most amazing thing I have ever seen.
It's the best ad I've seen anywhere.
The exact kind of thing that would go viral.
Stop what you're doing and watch this right now.
Ah, c'est passé. Oh, oui, c'est passé. Oui, qui revient dans le match. Encore problème. Qu'est-ce que c'est ce missile? Avec le pied droit. Ah, il met direct. Ça passe. Le centre français. C'est ça, le football qu'on aime.
Oh my god, it's so good.
In the video, before it rewinds,
The VFX are removed. It is in fact the elite French women's teams.
Pegou futebol feminino.
Ils en réalité, ce sont les femmes de l'équipe de France.
That tells me that women can't play like men, they can even play better.
So yeah, of course, this sits somewhere between visual effects and AI in a way. But imagine people watch male football so much that they're very clear they're watching a very interesting match or a scene from a match, but they remember they've never seen it before. They've never seen such goals played by the team before that they've been ardently watching. And then to realize it's the women's football team that's playing as well, if not better than them. And again, raising the question and sort of challenging the biases that we've been having for centuries ahead. So this was that particular piece. And I think just to sort of sum up, what I discovered in the process of making this presentation was that it's actually emotional intelligence that makes artificial intelligence real. So yes, thank you so much everyone. I hope you enjoyed this.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we will open the floor for, of course, questions, right? So if you have any question, please raise your hand. We'll bring you the microphone. Do I need to break the ice again? Okay, you know what question I will ask, right? So how do you find Busan and MedStars?
Well, I think the right word is hot. I think the festival has been amazing with all the work that we've seen. I think we had amazingly heated discussions and debate in our jury room. We of course landed on the consensus that we did. And we went for a very special tour with the team yesterday, and it was really hot. And coming from me, who comes from Mumbai, which is actually equally hot, tells you how hot this has been. But yeah, the festival hot, Busan hot.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, global warming, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so your one last chance. Do we have any question from the floor? This is your last chance. I think you're cold, right? Inside it is cold, so do not go outside and stay until the end of the conference with us. Okay, so any more questions? Maybe people are hungry. Or maybe your presentation was just so perfect. Oh, okay. We have one question right over here. Okay, great.
Hi. I'm really interested in the first commercial that you showed, the famous aerial.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, there was about 3 or 4 campaigns that were developed in that.
There were 9 actually.
Was there?
Yeah. We did one this year as well, just before I moved from BBDO to FCB.
Right. Okay. Now, what sort of impact has that had in India? Like, has it changed attitudes and what sort of effect on the culture? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I think since it's such a closed-door conversation within people's homes, we'll never probably find out what happens inside the home. But what we've done is, over the years, we had done research of people's mindsets. And the year we started the conversation in 2015, 79% men believed that laundry is only a woman's job. And this year that number came down to 23%. So I think what we've at least managed to do over the years is establish a change of mindset from 79 to 23% men believing that laundry is only a woman's job. Yeah, and I think it'll probably go on till that number goes on to 0%. So yeah, it's had quite an impact. And what's been amazing actually over the years, the reason we've managed to have 9 editions of that piece of work is because it engages people so much. Actually, there have been years where our insights and communication pieces have come out from the comment section of the previous year's piece. When one year we spoke about, this piece, women commented saying, yeah, it's so true. I'm the first one to wake up in the morning in my house and I'm the last one to go to sleep, was one of the comments. And we started a conversation around the fact that we need to share the load for equal sleep. And that led a whole new conversation as well. So it's been impacting year after year. Yeah.
And who does the washing in your house?
Well, I think we share the load when it comes to that. And after having a daughter, we have at least 2 cycles a day. So we definitely have to split it. Yeah.
Well, if you ask me that question, it is my husband's job, not me. Yay! Okay, I think we have one more question. Nope? Oh, okay, I thought, okay, that was a pause. Okay. Oh, we have one more question right over here. 네, 마이크 전달 부탁드리겠습니다.
Hey, that was a really great presentation. Thank you so much, and it's such an inspiring work.
Thank you.
I want to ask you about the EI versus AI actually, because you built such a emotional platform. I would say you said like 9. I don't know how many years.
It's been 13 years and 9 versions, 9 editions of the piece. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's crazy. So I mean, do you feel that with AI actually separately, like you would be able to build such a platform, like such a, say like a priceless platform for advertising that would go for 9 years, or?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is that when I started working on this piece, I was a bit skeptical because I was scared, right? I believe in the power of moving people with the pieces of communication that we create. And I wasn't sure, when I look upon all the AI pieces, will it only be tech-forward pieces, or will I find an emotional core in those conversations? And I came across a lot of these pieces, which made me feel really reassured that while artificial intelligence is definitely the way to go, I don't think emotional intelligence is going to leave a part of that conversation. And I think that when these two will come together, and when these two do come together, they really create a powerful piece of communication for sure. So yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Okay, wonderful. And now I think we have time to get one more question. Any more question from the floor? Okay, 마이크 전달 부탁드리겠습니다. 앞에 마이크 전달 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 여기 하얀 옷 입으신, 안경 쓰신 분이요?
Hi, actually I'm not a person like who is working in this
advertisement industry, but like I'm a shoemaker making shoes for people who has kind of painful feet or like flat feet, something like that, with my father. Definitely it's a small business. So like I would like to ask you, like AI can be an opportunity for people who is run their own small businesses.
Sorry, working on small business?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a great question, and I think in a way there was one piece that came out of India about 2 years ago with one of the biggest brands called Cadbury's Dairy Milk, which is a chocolate business, and they got the biggest superstar of the country, which is Shah Rukh Khan in India, and they created an AI piece where the Cadbury commercial could become a commercial for different small businesses, and they did it during the festive time. So what happens in India, Diwali is the festive time, and during Diwali, what happened was Cadbury gave out its piece, and Shah Rukh Khan, who was the biggest star, he said, yeah, of course I have Cadbury's as the sweet dessert during festive period, but when I want to shop, I buy it from XYZ shoemaker. And what they did was they AI generated that and they geotagged people. So if I live in Busan, I got the message of the shoemaker, which was a small business owner from there. And if I was in India, I would get it for something else. So I think that's how AI actually worked, for small businesses as well. So yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, that was perfect last question, and it was really interesting to hear from you. So it's time for us to let you go, finally. So why don't we give a big round of applause to our speaker, Mr. Shringy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So make sure you stay inside, it's cooler here.
Yes, okay? Let's lunch.
Okay. Okay, we'll now have a quick break, about 5 minutes, and we'll resume at 4 o'clock. So if you have to go to washroom, make sure to be back by 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. I'll see you at 4 o'clock. Thank you.